Yes, and welcome back to Hooky Hour, or to Hoomph Hour, where we have exactly one hoomph to give. Hoomph. And there you go. We are in the middle of solving this case, in which it was revealed last episode that Juan Corrida was gonna dress up as the Nickel Samurai and impersonate, impersonate himself. Impersonate Matt on guard and probably say some mean things about him, like how much of a poopy butt he is, that he has pickle breath with an F. Miss Andrews, I can see why you are pros at what you do. Pardon me? Pardon me, I was never a pro. I'm like the most clueless person here, I'll be honest. Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. Oh, Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me. You? Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. Dang, only second place in a popularity contest? Ugh! Oh, how despicable. So gosh dang camera screwing up right as the episode starts. Stop it. Stop. It's going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt Onguard's career had it been revealed. Ooh, some blackmail? What? Hopefully it's not like the most recent slew of, I don't know, celebrity outings. Like, certain R. Kelly, and do you know what his secret of Mr. Onguard's is, Miss Andrews? That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is. I see. I've probably been coming off as quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt after all. Oh? Protect Mr. Onguard? And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior. Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Protecting Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. Okay. This does account for everything, does it? Does it, Mr. Judge? Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing your true self. She is more nervous than a scared rabbit. If the defense can find no fault in this testimony, I am ready to make a ruling. Please keep in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright. Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. Some of this section. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. Aha. Protecting Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. Irk. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things? A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. And if you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. Dang, we're getting a lesson in lawyering from Miss Andrews. You should have already known that, Phoenix. They didn't teach that to us in school, at least not from what I remember. Oh, geez, what do you remember? May I continue now? Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. Are you sure? So you would say this knee came from the press conference? Actually, yeah, I guess. If we're rolling with this story that there's some sort of ungodly secret of Matt's, then perhaps he would have motives. I shouldn't be a smart ass. Yes. Do you know why Juan chose that event and that hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt Enguarde. And you knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews? Yes, because I was the one who set up the press conference and prepared the costume. But I'm sure Mr. Enguarde himself didn't know anything about the press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? No. Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony. Yes, I agree, Miss Andrews. Please correct your testimony, if you please. Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? Dang, she just suddenly, became super sassy. I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. Has Mr. Enguarde done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask? You were the one who helped Mr. Corda with his press conference, and that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Enguarde, yet you still helped out. The person on trial right now is Mr. Enguarde, right? What the witness was thinking, helping the victim with his plan, is none of our concern. Are you sure about that? In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. Didn't you say he was sleeping? But didn't you already testify earlier that Enguarde was taking a nap in his room? Ooh, excuse me. And you're telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. Enguarde? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time. I thought her testimony was going to keep going. I keep trying, but I can find no flaws with what Miss Andrews said. I can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however. Okay. The judge is glaring straight at Mia. It's glaring at you, smart guy. No, I'm the one glaring at Mia. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. The rare eye scratch instead of the nose scratch. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought, and during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Gem and Ninja's costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the pleats of Matt's Hakama, isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. Erk. Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. Monet. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Shit. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me. With an icy stare, yes. When did you become a psychic? Well, other than your whole family bloodline. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. That button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. Yeah, I can see. It's actually pretty cool because while we were pressing her before, she was like crumbling. The more that we press her now, the more like ammunition she gets against us. It's kind of a cool thing, not gonna lie. Cool how they played that out. And how do you know that? When the ends of the threads on the button and the costume were matched up. They were found to fit together perfectly, or so I hear. So I heard. I've heard that before too. But why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail? Don't look at me like that. Just because I'm prepared and you are not. And I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here. But where and what? But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. Hold it. Hold it. But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? And at the worst possible time. Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. OnGuard at any time. Why, then, would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Corda planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. OnGuard as much damage as she possibly could. This witness bears ill will towards the defendant. This isn't the Phoenix Wright Wax Philosophical Power Hour. Wax. And please stop slandering the witness. As I expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid. Really, because to me it sounded a little wishy-washy. Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll see if I press a little more. You should know this by now. But you'll need to be strong. But you'll need strong, decisive evidence to make her talk. Got it, Chief. I'm going to pin you down this time, Miss Andrews. In the court way, not in any other way, of course. Okay. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right, and he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. That button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. But I'm Matt's manager, so I have felt that I had to protect him. Oops. Kind of went all the way on accident. So if they were fighting, then wouldn't there have been blood on what's-his-face's costume? On Guard's costume? I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. So what are we actually trying to tackle here? What are we trying to get her on? Probably the fact that Mr. OnGuard didn't carry out this murder would be the first thing. Trying to wrap my head around what angle we can take this from as the camera just keeps sliding over to the left. Thank you, camera. All right. Man. Okay. That button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. I kind of doubt that. I'm not gonna lie. I do kind of doubt that. I doubt the whole, you know, Matt fighting with Juan. That is what I doubt, not the button being torn off. I mean, he'd have to have blood on him, right? 100% that. Yeah, that's nothing. Alright. Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. Alright. Scratching my chinny chin chin over here. Juan during his fight with Matt. I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. Didn't have an alibi. Perhaps we can prove it with an alibi. Did somebody see Matt OnGuard? Because I don't remember. I'm trying to think. There was anybody that saw Mr. OnGuard. We'd have to get somebody else to say that Matt OnGuard was exactly where He was, which was away from the crime. Maybe Lotta could help us on this one? Actually, why did I do that? Crime scene photo, Lotta's photo. Check. I mean, this photo, isn't it? This is the teddy bear on this side. So I guess she's walking out of Juan Corda's room, right? So this side had all the teddy bears. But I thought Matt's side had like a bunch of flowers and stuff. That's why I thought she was walking out of that side. Profiles. Alright, let's just go for a shot in the dark. Did Lotta find anything? Your Honor, that statement contradicts. Okay. Load. From right there. Right, 3. That button was torn off of Juan during his fight. Mets manager. Didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. Didn't have an alibi. Who would give him an alibi? Could have been Will Powers. Will he finally show up to testify? Ah, friggin' camera! Ah. There. Just a little more. I'm sure that me shaking the camera violently will show up great on camera. Of course. Camera showing up great on camera. Anyways. I don't want to spend too much time because I feel like we haven't made that much progress this episode. So I'm gonna do a little looksy-peeksy and see what I'm actually supposed to, like, say. Okay. That makes sense, I guess. So on this statement, we have to present the autopsy report. Strangled with a scarf and then stabbed with a knife, apparently. Okay. I would have not guessed that in like 1,000 years. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by scarf. Oh, we were trying to prove her on strangulation by scarf. Okay. Strangulation. The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off the costume. When? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly, which means it is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle. Oh, okay. Because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. Ah! Yeah, I wouldn't have put those pieces together like that, so. That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. Gotcha. This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's already dead body. Ah. Alright, I'm seeing where they're coming from. Order, order, ah! What is the meaning of this, right? We'll find out next time on Hooky Hour as the camera keeps... I'm gonna hold it right here. As we'll find out next time on Hooky Hour, where this camera is going to be fixed for sure. This camera is the actual culprit. Believe me, I would know. All right, until next time. See you then. Bye.